Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new edition of the EKN OutLap. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole in the virtual EKN studio. It's episode 33 of the OutLap, our preview podcast, which kicks off our EKN Trackside Live, presented by Cooper Tires coverage. It's February the 8th, 2022, into the second month of the year, and the event that we'll be talking about today, a preview for the final two rounds of the Superkarts USA Winter Series, the four-round program that runs at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. We'll be heading down there on Thursday to cap things off with rounds 3 and round 4. And again, if it's the first time you've listened to one of our preview podcasts, absolutely perfect for the trip home, a trip to work, trip home, whatever commute you're taking. Fire it up on the EKN Radio Network. Download the podcast when it's available. A great way to get yourself updated and ready to go for the upcoming events. This edition of the OutLap presented by Skip Barber Racing School. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsports series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car featuring 160 horsepower and a turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your racing career so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. So there you go, David. We welcome Skip Barber onto the program as the presenting sponsor of the broadcast, big new partner for ekartingnews.com. But it's time to head back to Florida. It's still been super cold up here in Canada. I'm sure the same in Michigan. It's time to go back to some warm temperatures.
Yeah, I just had a chill from how cold it is down here in the Michigan basement that I am in right now. Looking forward to what should be near perfect weather conditions. Obviously, highs in the upper 70s to possibly in the low 80s. But again, it is Florida. It's Miami. There's going to be a chance of rain. So that's going to be the measuring stick of how well the weather is on the weekend. Is, last month it was quite a downpour we received, and the paddock, took the blunt of the rain, filling up feet of water in certain areas of the paddock. And hopefully that won't happen again when we head down there this weekend.
Yeah, we got hit pretty hard. Those of you who follow along with social media as well, you know how much water got in there, and we talked about it as well. You're only 2 miles from the coast, from the Atlantic Ocean, so it's essentially just above sea level, and it just, when it gets a ton of rain, it just has nowhere to go. So hopefully, again, you said just a chance of rain on Saturday, less both on Friday and Sunday, but beautifully nice temperatures, high 70s throughout the weekend. Again, we'll head to Florida and the Winter Series, round number 3 and 4 of their 4-round championships. We'll be crowning some champions on Sunday. Fifth season of the championship, David, began back in 2018. Essentially, it's like the spring training for the Superkarts USA Pro Tour. It's all IAME, as we know, from micro and mini Swift all the way through to the shifter kart categories with the IAME 175 SSC engine or the KZ. So cool factor is all these drivers are kind of dialing things in, and I think because of it, we're seeing a couple of names that didn't run in January who are going to be running in February to make sure they're ready when we go Pro Tour racing at the Winter Nationals in NOLA.
Yeah, select few are that were not at the SCUSA Winter Series event in January that will be here this weekend in February that are, again, we had a later start to last year. We ended, in December, which typically doesn't happen. Normally we're done by Thanksgiving. This time with the rescheduling of Super Nationals 24, it put everybody into December, and then a couple weeks later it was WK Daytona Kart Week, and the week after it was we were in Homestead. So not a lot of turnover time. So some people taking that month of January off because they didn't have that in December. So I think you're going to see that we're going to have some notable names that are coming back to kick off their 2022 season. And again, it's like you said, it's the spring training. there isn't a lot on the line, with the two events that we do have at the Winter Series, but it's a great way to kick off the season and get, if you move to new chassis, new team, great way to get going with that, and really just to get your season off to kind of a good start. Or some people are looking to rebound just from the January round and get going that way.
True. That's true. Drivers moving up in categories as well. Obviously, a great opportunity to kind of get in with the drivers you're going to be racing when we do go Pro Tour racing at the Winter Nationals. Let's talk about the venue a little bit. It is the AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex presented by MG Tires. The track located just outside of Homestead Miami Speedway down in the south of Florida. Back in January, we went in the counterclockwise direction. This particular weekend, because SCUSA's kind of settled in at the Homestead facility for the Winter Series, we're going to go in the clockwise direction now, correct? Yeah, we'll go clockwise direction this time, from right to left in front of us on the start finish. 11 turns in total. The track is 7/10 of a mile. It essentially is a parking lot at the Homestead Miami Speedway, but they turned it into a racetrack back in the early 2000s. It's been there for a long time. The facility itself now owned by the Vantage Karting Group, the same group that owns the GoPro Motorplex. They bought it back in 2017. Did some upgrades to the track, just visually wise. They put a rental kart facility in there as well. Overall, David, Vantage Karting Group has really done a lot to kind of elevate karting in Homestead. And then just as recently, coming into the Winter Series, they did a lot of stuff at the track as well to update some of the curbing, some of the exit areas.
Yeah, that was one of the focal points, was the curbing and exit areas for the racetrack itself. What will be now the last corner has an extended portion of rumble strips. It was going to be grass. Unfortunately, a local event there tore up the grass completely, and so they decided to just pave it and put in the rumble strips directly. But other points, I want to say 6 or 7 different spots around the circuit, they added some grass strips to help alleviate the drivers from exceeding the track limits. So that, that came into play the first weekend.
It did.
And I think, going the opposite direction now, there's certain spots that will come into play there as well, too, with the certain grass sections that were added to the racetrack. And again, of course, I think the major point was the curbing. That was one thing that a lot of drivers were mentioning. There wasn't the ability to just slam into all the curbs around the racetrack itself. So the new raised curbing helps limit, keep karts again inside the track limits and from exceeding the action, jumping over the curbs as we've seen in previous years at Homestead.
So we're recording this OutLap preview podcast on Tuesday morning. We'll get it out, of course, as always, on the EKN Radio Network first, then we'll make it available as a podcast. Drivers are going to actually be on track for unofficial practice tomorrow, on Wednesday, and on Thursday, run by the facility itself. David SCUSA taking control of the track on Friday morning with 5 rounds of practice. Give us a dial-in of what we've got for the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, the 5 rounds of practice on Friday, 7-minute sessions with a 12-minute session at the end to give the competitors a little bit of more of a pre-final to halfway through the final type feel for the racetrack on that day. Saturday and Sunday will be rounds 3 and 4. You'll have warm-up, qualifying, the pre-final, which includes 12 laps for the majority of the categories, 10 for cadet divisions, and then the finals will be 22 laps and 20 laps for the cadet division. So again, Saturday round 3 and Sunday round 4 action.
And indeed, Sunday we'll cap things off. We'll crown champions in all the categories, and then look forward to the Superkarts USA Pro Tour. Time for our first break in the action on this edition of the OutLap podcast. When we come back, we'll have a look at the numbers. David's been able to get the entry list. We'll have a look at where we are in terms of numbers in all the different categories we'll be running this coming weekend. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SCUSA Super Nationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, a new episode of the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast. And of course, this kicks off our EKN Trackside live coverage of the upcoming Superkarts USA Winter Series event in Homestead, Florida, rounds 3 and 4 at that fantastic facility in South Florida. David, let's have a look at by the numbers. Back in January, 220 entries. As we come in here, the pre-entry sitting at 210. So knowing that some people don't end up pre-entering, it's a good possibility we could match or exceed the numbers that they had back in the opening rounds.
Yeah, we'll note a few drivers that are not entered that we have confirmation that will be there this weekend. So, if you get a good 10 to 15 walk-ups, it could exceed the number that we set at 220 entries in January. So, again, overall, a solid growth for the Winter Series compared to the last few years of the program.
Yeah, Micro Swift dropping down quite a bit. They had 34 in the opening round, down to 26. Just a slight drop in the Mini Swift category from 39 to 34. Increase, actually, in X30 Junior, David. We're going to have almost 40 drivers in X30 Junior, 39 pre-entry. X30 Senior, the same at 38. Lost a couple of the X30 Masters drivers, but you'll see if some of the locals maybe will come back in. It might just be the fact that the locals aren't entering and doing the pre-entering. Only 8 drivers in X30 Master, but an increase in KA100 Junior.
Well, I'm going to go back to X30 Junior. That is the largest category as of right now, with X30 Senior the second largest. So kind of a switch. That's, we saw bigger numbers in obviously KA100 divisions throughout the year. The Winter Series has kind of been the opposite, which is shocking, but which is good, because if these are the numbers we are seeing right now in the Winter Series, hopefully we can see the same amount at the Pro Tour level, both at the Winter Nationals and Spring Nationals, and of course Summer Nationals are going to be big, as they always are. But it's boding well. But yeah, an increase in K100 Junior as well, up to 27, so nearly into the 30 driver range. So not quite there yet, but could get a couple walk-ups, but a good increase there. Unfortunately, KA100 Senior went down. So the one went up and the other went down, because there'll only be 22 drivers right now entered. But again, walk-ups could help boost that number back up to where it was last month.
Yeah, an increase in both the shifter card categories, up to 8 for Pro Shifter, 8 for Master Shifter. A couple other guys coming in who weren't there at the opening round. So David, we'll get some more shifters. It'll be 16 on total on that combined race group. So once we get down and talk about the Pro Shifter category, we'll see that there are some good names lining up to go racing there. Yeah,
almost a double in from last month. So that's good. Again, it gives it, again, I keep going back to, I think the Winter Series should just be one big race weekend. It just, 2 weekends in 2 months. It's just a little bit to get the season going, especially for Pro Tour competitors And especially for IAME competitors, it's just, there's already enough racing going on. I think if we had, again, a one big SCUSA winter cup event in Florida, get the factories back behind it again, get them coming over and racing with us, because they're racing nonstop now. So we can't get any international drivers over because they've already started their program. So if we can get that before they start, I think that's going to be a win-win.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing going on. I've talked to a couple of the team owners and shop owners saying, man, that just feels like the season's so front loaded, right? Especially down in Florida. We're essentially with the SCUSA Winter Series, the Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas. You're racing 3 weekends a month in January and February. You get rid of the SCUSA Winter Series and tend to take March off, but then the USPKS starts up in March as well. So there's, again, 3 more weekends. It's a lot. There's 9 weekends for some of these big teams that try to go both sides of the country over the first 3 months. It's a ton for sure. But still, 210 entries, as we said, a potential to get up to 220. We'll see what happens with walk-up entries when we get down to Homestead on Thursday and Friday. Otherwise, quick break. When we get back, time to start diving into the drivers we have. We'll have a look at the championship standings from all the categories as well. Stay tuned. X30 Senior, KA100 Senior, and Pro Shifter will kick things off as we start previewing this weekend's Winter Series finale. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group is an official Kart Republic race team, providing full trackside support at all the major USA karting events, including the SCUSA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, SCUSA Super Nationals 25, and other events throughout the 2022 season. TKG has in stock Kart Republic, IAME, MG and Avinco tires, and more products for those in Ohio and the Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history of the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. We don't just drive trucks because they're dependable workhorses that let us tackle icy roads all winter and tow a boat on the summer weekends. We also drive trucks because they're fun. And the Cooper Discoverer Rugged Trek is a truck tire made with fun in mind. Like any Cooper tire, the Rugged Trek is designed to do everything you need it to do. It's got stone blockades to protect your tires off-road and whisper grooves for smooth, quiet street driving. But with its in-your-face design, like the dual sidewalls that let you choose between 2 aggressive looks, the Cooper Discoverer Rugged Trek is also a tire that shows off your truck's wild side. It's the tire that's off-road party on the outside and dependable all-purpose Cooper design on the inside. Learn more at coopertire.com. Go with the Coopers. Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, our preview of the upcoming Superkarts USA Winter Series event in Homestead. The race coming up this weekend here, middle of February. David, let's start with the X30 Senior category. 38 entries in total. Like you said, a massive field for X30 Senior, closing in on that 40 mark. The drivers we saw scoring wins in the opening round. Eduardo Villa was able to get the win in round 1, but the driver who came across the line in the victory of round 1 actually came back for redemption in round number 2 to get the win for Parallel USA. That's Alessandro De Tullio. Very strong, and De Tullio, of course, will drop. Well, I guess he can't drop that first race, can he? A technical DQ. We'll see if he can still run for the championship. Nonetheless, he was very fast last time we were there.
Yeah, currently sitting in 6th spot in the championship when you're not factoring drops. Again, he can't drop anything, so he's got to can keep that 100 point total that he received in round one, because he did actually win the pre-final, so he scored maximum points there. Didn't quite get the pole position. Pole position actually went to Mateus Morgado, who was the runner-up in both main events on the opening weekend, and he is the championship leader heading into the weekend with a solid 111 points lead over fellow Brazilian Diego Ramos. So Brazilian 1-2 going in, but Mateus obviously having a strong advantage with those two runner-up finishes. So the only driver to be on the podium both days in January. That's a great start. And again, if he can continue that pace in round three, that's almost going to assure a lockup for the championship for him. Hannah Greenmeyer sitting in third position in the championship, the 2021 Pro Tour champion, 122 points back, with Villa in fourth. Now, no confirmation on him attending this weekend. I didn't see him on the entry list for WSK, so I'm not quite sure and I tried contacting him, not quite sure if he'll be there or not, but not on the entry list. So we'll have to see. But Canadian Thomas Naveau sitting there in fifth, 128 points back. So Morgado has a good round in round three. It kind of helps keep him in the driver's seat for the championship, and could be an early lock for him going into round four.
We'll have a look at some of the other names we've seen here, too, that obviously kind of stand out for me. Marian Kremers and Ryan Norberg. We talked about the fact that Ryan Norberg taking the opening round of the Winter Series off. First time in the 5 years of the Winter Series that he wasn't there to try to battle for the championship. Marian Kremers, of course, factory Burrell art driver. We saw him at the Super Nationals in the KZ category. Kremers will be running in the X30 senior class here. Just two guys that's good to see back, right? Good to see Ryan Norberg back once again. Four-time SCUSA Pro Tour champion, got the Super Nationals win that has eluded him for so many years. I like him taking a bit of a breather. I can understand being on the throttle as much as he is. But again, we expect him to be back and ready to battle for a race win this weekend.
Yeah, we talked to him prior, as the weekend got going, and, he wasn't missing being out there. And I talked to him at the end of the weekend, and it kind of increased, a little bit that he did kind of miss it. But, he was happy to still be part of the RPG tent and trying to get the drivers quicker. And now that the USPKS and Pro Tour are coming up next month, I think this is again, not necessarily shake off for us, but just get back into that race mode type of mentality, getting out there and going wheel to wheel with the drivers that he'll probably be competing with throughout the season, both championships.
I'll say something about Alessandro Di Tullio right after the opening round of the SCUSA Winter Series there. We were starting the Road to Indy E-Series, and Gustavo Jacquemin, who's the series manager of the USF Juniors program, said, you know what, you should invite Di Tullio. Like he's pretty, he's been testing the F4 car a little bit with Pole Position Motorsports. Bring him in. I hear he's a pretty good sim driver. Oh my God, dude, the guy's fantastic. I think we did four races. And he won at least one race in all four of the E-Series races in the Indy Pro 2000 car. So this guy's super good. Won again last night. We did one at Road America. The other driver that won actually was Frankie Mossman, who will be here this weekend in the Bennick machine. He was able to win one of the races as well. Mossman, he's been pretty impressive, David, over the last 3-4 months. Was a factor at the Super Nationals, and we'll see what he's going to be able to do here this weekend, running again with Bennick.
Yeah, got into the top 10 throughout most of January. So again, was kind of there, not really able to be among the front runners, but still good top 15, top 10 performances for him in January. So sitting 11th in the championship right now. So we'll see if he's able to improve on that. I actually just did get confirmation from Villa not going to be at Homestead. So so that opens up the door. So the Canadian could possibly move up again. The battle for the top three in the championship will still go down to the wire, aside, depending on what Morgado does on round three.
Dave, let's talk a little bit about the big guns coming up from junior, our impressive rookies we've seen so far. Number one, of course, the driver who swept the Super Nationals in the junior categories, Jeremy Fletcher for Team Felon, and Carson Morgan as well for Morgan Racing. Both those drivers very, very impressive in the opening round of the Winter Series. These guys are going to challenge for senior championships all year long, right? This isn't a year where they're going to come in and just learn to get comfortable. These guys are going to be going for race wins throughout 2022.
Well, don't forget Paul Bocuse and Noah Baker. They were actually the top rookies in January. They are sitting 8th and 9th in the championship right now. Bocuse, I think, actually has the best result of those drive. No, Fletcher got a top 5 on Saturday, but Bocuse was right there with I believe, a 6th place finish on Sunday. So, again, a number of different senior rookies that are looking to kind of make a name for themselves early on.
Yeah, other drivers I think we should probably throw out there that could be good. We know that Nate Cicero has the speed to be, of course, able to run up front in this category. We've seen him win before in the 100cc KA 100 class here on the Winter Series. I think you bring Paulie Massimino into the discussion as well. Louis Westover is coming over to run with Solo Kart USA. Didn't have the best run in January, but we know we've seen Louis be on the podium before for Solo Kart USA in the Winter Series. So I look for him to kind of dial things back in.
Well, if it's wet, Westover is going to be quick. As he showed when the track was wet for this category, he was among the top contenders right away. So he loves that wet weather racing. Tyler Wettengale actually moving over to the X30 senior division this weekend. So we'll see if he's able to provide a little boost under the Trinity Karting Group tent.
I'm thinking a couple other just to throw out there again, thinking if they're going to be top 10 or not, and they probably will be, or will have the speed to do that. I'd say Cole Morgan and John Burke, 2 other drivers that I think could probably fight up front. Maybe even throw a Cole Kleck in there as well.
Yeah, again, number of different drivers that are going to be in the hunt, but I think you have to look at Tulo being the having that local knowledge. Again, very fast opening month. Just got that unfortunate disqualification in Tech on Saturday. I think he'll be the driver that everybody will be keeping an eye on for sure.
Let's move over to KA 100 senior, 22 entries in total. A significant drop from what we had in January, which is kind of intriguing to me. 22 in total, as I said, entries. We'd already talked about Carson Morgan and how strong he has been coming out as a senior driver. Debuted, of course, at the Super Nats, battling it out with his brother Cole. Won both races, David, back in January. Leads the points by 128 markers over Aiden Rudolph for PSL Karting and Speed Sports Racing Park. He did a great job, I thought. Aiden Rudolph, kind of a breakout weekend in January for Aiden.
Well, first senior race for one. That was, again, we're getting a number of these younger drivers showing well. Again, 3 senior rookies in the top 5 in the championship chase right now with Morgan, Rudolph, and Jeremy Fletcher. But Rudolph, had to overcome some carburation issues during what was the wet weather race on Saturday. Looked like he was going to be out of it and was able to charge forward and get back up onto the podium. So 2 podium finishes for him to go alongside with Carson Morgan's 2 wins. So those 2 drivers are certainly the top contenders in the championship. Unfortunately, for Rudolph, Morgan's got a sustainable lead with a 128-point advantage going into the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, all it takes though is one issue and you're out. That's probably the big thing, and that's your drop. So you never know what could happen. Nicholas Terlecki had a pretty good opening weekend as well. He's 3rd in points. Jeremy Fletcher 4th. Nick Bruckner in 5th. Good to see Nick back with us. But David, in your notes here, you're saying Bruckner not yet a pre-entry?
Yeah, Bruckner's on the entry list, and I have not been able to get a confirmation from him yet. I sent a message this morning, nothing back from him, so possibly unable to compete. But again, could be a walk-up entry for him. But yeah, you mentioned Nick Terlecki. You talk about having trouble. He had that trouble on Sunday in the wet weather race. Was positioned to be on the podium, and then I believe contact or something mechanical happened to where he was unable to finish. So he's already got a drop going into the final 2 rounds. So if he does come in and steal a pole position, win pre-finals, it could kind of certainly help him get back into the championship chase. Let
me just throw a couple other names out here in the KA 100 under senior category that I expect to be talking about when we go racing. And once again, I'll be with Xander Clemens and the Kart Chaser crew with the live video broadcast throughout the weekend. We'll, of course, be streaming that on the EKN Radio Network as well. So if you do have the EKN Radio Network app on your mobile device, we'll have the live stream through there for those of you who don't have the opportunity to watch the live show. I'm going to throw out Josh Holtz, Connor Ferris, and Finnegan Bailiff as well. I think those are three drivers we could potentially see up front.
Yeah, along with Peyton Phillips, who's sitting sixth in the championship, Texas Sprint Racing Series champion, actually finished fourth in the wet weather Sunday main event, just behind Rudolph as they were fighting for the final spot on the podium. So a little bit of trouble for him, I believe, was part of the contact in the main event during the lead group that saw Cole Morgan and Fletcher and collected Peyton Phillips as well as Connor Ferris in that little melee.
Yeah.
So I expect to see, again, this could be, 5, 6, 7, 8 kart lead pack all weekend long, depending on the weather, of course.
Yeah, I'll throw Gia Cicero in there as well for Rawls Performance Group. She's been very quick down in Florida. Dave, let's go to the Pro Shifter class now to cap off this segment of our preview OutLap podcast here. 8 entries in total in the Pro Shifter category. We're losing a couple drivers that we saw in the opening round, but a couple other ones coming in, including AJ Myers. Winners of the opening round, though, Billy Musgrave and Alan Isambard. Isambard, the local driver, knows the Homestead facility really well. Dude, he comes in as the point leader over Musgrave by 15 points.
Yeah, that victory on Sunday certainly helped his cause towards the championship, able to outlast and outgun Musgrave there in the main event on Sunday. Musgrave was the dominant driver for much of Saturday, aside from not getting the fast time in qualifying, but went out and won the pre-final and final. So only 15 points separate those top 2 drivers in the championship chase. Third and fourth place, Slavik Pushatin.
I think it's
and Gian Torino. They're not on the entry list, so we'll have to see if they'll be walk-ups. Fifth place, Annie Rule, sitting 128 points back. She's scheduled to be competing in the 8 kart field. But again, some notable names coming in. AJ Myers, the reigning Pro Tour champion. Calvin Mean coming back to race some shifter kart racing along with Kyle Kennedy and Canadian David Greco.
Yeah, just checking. I was just checking here to see whether or not Danny Formal potentially is coming. I think he's supposedly coming to the race. I don't. You're saying
he is.
He is. Did he? Did
yes,
he confirm
not entered, but Leading Edge Motorsports and Formal himself have confirmed that he is racing. So I'm not quite sure why he's not on the entry list. So
good to see some of these guys coming back, like a Calvin Ming too, that we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah, he was pretty good in the S2 or Pro Shifter 2 category there when he did run that one season of shifter kart racing. A lot of car experience as well, too. I believe he did, what did he do, USF 2000?
Yeah, he was a USF 2000 driver.
So he's got a lot of racing experience behind him, so he could be, again, lives in Florida, so knows the Homestead track. So he could be a factor, but I think AJ Myers is going to be the bullseye. I think everybody knows, saw his performances last year. And if Formal is for sure going to be there, again, we're only 99% sure that he's going to be there. Those will probably be the 2 guns along with Musgrave and Isambard.
We may end up with 10 to 12 drivers in Pro Shifter. We'll see what happens there. Again, these guys that don't enter drive me crazy, especially when we're trying to do a preview podcast.
Especially when their social media says they will be there.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I'm coming, but I'm not entered yet.
I'm not entered yet.
All right, folks, another break. When we get back, it'll be X30 Junior, KA100 Junior, X30 Master, and Master Shifter. Those previews after this quick break. It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Spec Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. And the all-new IgniteKarting.com website provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec kart that features the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes utilize the same Ignite K3 kart, which puts all the emphasis squarely on the driver. You can race the Ignite package from Margay at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for 2021 include the Ignite Majors, featuring events at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Quincy Grand Prix, and Newcastle Motorsports Park. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regional-based Ignite Challenge Series at tracks in Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Local club programs have been established in Idaho, Texas, Nebraska, New York, Ohio, and Florida. All the information that you're looking for on events throughout the country and on all the Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, is available at IgniteKarting.com. Get off the couch and on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to a new edition of our EKN OutLap podcast. We are previewing the upcoming Superkarts USA Winter Series finale, rounds 3 and 4 at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. X30 Junior, man, this was a bit of a surprise, the amount of entries we get. I think some people maybe not taking that January off after having the Supernats in December. They're coming back strong here in the February race to dial things in for both the USPKS opener and the Pro Tour opener in New Orleans. 39 entries. Winners of the opening round, David, were Sebastian Weldon and Stephen Miller. And Miller really was one of the guys that was such a spotlight star down there in different conditions. Miller was very quick. He ends up leading the points by Weldon by 30 coming into the finale weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting story going into this weekend. Again, Miller having the local knowledge was the star on Sunday in both junior categories, and ended up winning in X30 Junior. And Sebastian Weldon, lots of track time at Homestead as well too. They are certainly the top drivers in the championship. But don't forget Max Garcia sitting right now in fourth, only 34 points back. So you have the top four separated by 34 points. And that includes Mateus Orjuela, who is sitting third, but will not be in Homestead. He is actually racing with Parolin Motorsport in Italy with the WSK Supermaster event going on this weekend as well.
Yeah, I would love to have seen him in the fight, but you're right. 34 points separating the top three. And of course, one drop will happen. We always talk about that. P5 in the championship right now, Michael Costello, 117 back. So he probably already has a drop race that he'll want to use. David, let's see what else we got. We got some other drivers coming in. We got some drivers potentially moving up here as well. I know Christian Miles coming in to run here in the X30 junior category as well.
Yeah, that is a confirmed entry and confirmed on social media as well too.
Good man.
As they are actually making their way down to Florida right now from Illinois. But Miles was again one of those the top drivers in the X30 junior division. Got his first year under his belt in KA 100, and then moved over to X30 last year. So I expect him to be among those in the top 10 battling for sure on the weekend as well.
Jensen Burnett making the move up into the X30 junior category as well. Burnett on the Parolin. We'll see him in action as well. We mentioned Costello already. How about another driver, David, moving up here into the X30 junior class? Because I don't think he ran X30 junior on the opening weekend. Was that Caleb Gaffarin? He did not run Junior in January,
No,
did
he ran both categories last
he?
last month. Yes.
He had the issue in turn number, I guess, 2, right? When he hit the wall in the finale of the second
Yeah,
weekend,
was
second
was
race.
among the top contenders on Sunday. Actually made contact with the wall that took him out of the race on Sunday.
Yeah, nobody saw that. Nobody saw that until it came out in the video edit.
I know.
I want to bring that up, right? I hadn't
Finished
seen it because remember we're calling the action like, why is Gafera off in the middle of nowhere? Well, we had no idea.
It happened on the exit of turn 1 that you can't really see where people are sitting on the outside of turn 2. So yeah, it makes sense. And again, that could have been when your tent was flying off or something like that.
That is true. That is true.
But no, did finish 5th. So sitting 14th right now in the championship chase. So essentially out of it, possible, more than likely out of it for the championship, but has the ability to certainly contend for a podium spot both days.
Oh, 2 primary guys that are going to challenge for the championship in the Pro Tour who are not in the top 5 in points. Aiden Ingrata for Speed Concepts and Max Garcia, who's running the Will Power Kart under the Trinity Karting Group tent. Those are 2 guys that are obviously going to be fighting. I think Garcia actually won a club race this past weekend.
Well, Garcia's sitting 4th right now, so he has a chance to be in the championship. Yep.
It's
okay.
34 back.
Yep.
I'm trying to juggle a couple of things here. Let's talk about Ingrata though.
But Ingrata, he had the disqualification on Saturday. He was part of that wild last lap finish that saw Weldon go from 3rd to 1st because it was Garcia and Ingrata that got together on the exit of the final corner, going off into that new grass section, with Ingrata doing a little extracurricular activities after the checkered flag, which resulted in disqualification. So that's an unsportsmanlike driver conduct, if I recall, or it could just be contact. That's something we'll have to again kind of address when we again, the rule book's always changing with Superkarts USA, so we'll have to double check on the disqualifications when we go into Friday into at Homestead to confirm. But a runner up on Sunday, so possibility depending on a drop or not regarding disqualification, but certainly will be a factor all weekend long for podium.
That was a fun race back in January when that was because Ingrata had worked his way all the way through and got himself up, took that lead, defending down into the final corner, and a little touch there from Garcia. They both go off into what was grass. I think it was probably mud by that point on the outside of the.
It was more, it was kind of mud. Yeah, not as bad as Sunday, but yeah.
No, and a beautiful over under, of course, by Weldon to be able to come through to take that victory. This was a really up and down kind of chaotic category throughout the weekend. While we were there, Ingrata, of course, does have the speed to be able to work his way forward. Another driver I want to bring up only because I think it's cool to see what he's been able to do here. Of course, the driver who won the championship last year in the mini category, moving up to X30 Junior. That's Enzo Vidmontian on the Bennett. You have your points in front of you, David. Where did Enzo end up after the first?
Yeah, his top rookies. Well, Mateus actually was top rookie, but now with him out, it'll put Enzo Vidmontian as the top rookie, sitting 7th. Got a top 5 finish on Sunday.
Yeah, so there you go. I think definitely a driver to watch again, making his debut, coming out of the mini category. Let's go to KA100 Junior. I'd mentioned that Gafera actually was strong there. I did forget about the incident that he had in the X30 Junior class. Gafera getting the win in the opening round back in January. Stephen Miller, who I said was really one of the impressive drivers throughout the entire weekend in the opening round of the Winter Series. He was the other race winner. 27 entries in total. Not a big lead, though, for Gafera in the points. Austin Jers was kind of his equal throughout the entire weekend, was right there putting the pressure on Gafera. Only 10 points back, so this is definitely going to be a fight throughout the entire Saturday and Sunday main events.
Yeah, Jers, the only driver to be on the podium both days, recorded a 2nd place on Saturday and then 3rd on Sunday with fast lap bonus points. So essentially 2 runner-up finishes if you look at it in points terminology. So only 10 points separating. So qualifying and fast laps in both races, both rounds, are going to be pretty crucial in this championship chase. But Luke Welcome, another Florida driver, only 108 points back, so finished 2nd on Sunday, so has the opportunity to possibly come in as a championship contender, depending on what he can do and what the results of Gafera and Jurors do on round 3.
Yeah, Valentino Garbarino there as well. He's only a point back from Luke Welcome, and even though it sounds like it's 108 and 109 points back, they've got a race that's not as good as Gafera and Jers and their consistency. So one of those could be a drop race. So all you have to do is come in, get on the podium a couple times, and you could potentially challenge for the championship. And the same goes for Stephen Miller. He scored the win, David, in Sunday's round. He's 120 points back, but as long as he does better than he did on Saturday in January, this is a guy that could fight for the championship as well. And as you noted, all 5 drivers on the entry list.
Yeah, Valentino and Miller both finished top 5 both days. So, good solid finishes. Valentino was actually 3rd on Saturday. So, again, good solid finishes. I think, Welcome is the only driver in that top 5 of the championships who didn't finish in the top 5 both rounds. So actually finished, I think, 6th on Saturday. So, again, these are the 5 drivers that are going to pretty much decide the championship.
David, just scroll through the entry list there. Anybody else you want to throw out there?
It's a good solid field, but again, number of Ayrton Grimm making a return back to the racetrack after taking January off, so he'll be in the making the move up to K100 Junior this year. Ava Hansen, another driver who wasn't trackside in January with Team FMS.
Yeah, former EKN Driver of the Month last year too. Yeah.
And then another rookie, Reagan Seville, again, racing under the PSL tent with Alan Rudolph Racing Academy aboard the Burrell Art. So we'll see if he's able to kind of improve on after a somewhat solid, comfortable opening weekend in January.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I had him highlighted on my spreadsheet as well. Let's go to X30 Master right now. 8 in total. Michel Garrido and Danilo Ramalho, the 2 drivers getting race wins. And of course, not surprising, they're up top in the points right now. Ramalho just 22 points behind Garrido as we come into round 3 and 4. Pro Tour champion Mario Barrios was kind of in the fight the entire time as well. He's 55 points back. Luis Schiavo did not have the easiest of weekends. We know he has the pace to potentially win races. He's 80 points back. And Diego Rodriguez, David, 140 points back. But as you've noted, we will not, well, at least he's not on the entry list heading into this event.
Yeah, not on the entry list. So we'll see if he's a walk-up, only 140 points back. And again, this category, all of those 5 drivers finished in the top 5 both rounds. So these will be the drivers to kind of be in the championship chase going into the final weekend.
Dan Breitenstein, a driver we've seen do a lot of four-cycle racing, jumping up into the X30 Masters class. We'll see if he got a good feel for it. Maybe did some more testing between that last race, and we'll see if he's able to dial things in here with Risa Racing.
Actually, the only United States driver. Oh, no, 2 United States drivers.
Is there 2?
Sorry. Yep, sorry.
What else we got?
Tom
Tom
Gerstner.
Gerstner. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to Master Shifter now, similar to X30 Master, 8 drivers in total. One of them not entered, although we just confirmed it as we ripped on him before this podcast. The winners were Ken Schilling and Skitchy Barnes. Scott Barnes from Bermuda, said driver who has not yet entered, although has told us that he's coming. Barnes with a 115-point lead over Johnston Irwin. Schilling in 3rd, Farshad Bagari in 4th. But David, there is a couple of drivers that have come into the Masters class that I think are going to shake things up. And one of the really, really fast drivers from last year, Freddie Remrev for LD Racing. I think he's going to be a guy to watch. He'll probably be the guy people are chasing coming out of the gate.
Yeah, actually, it looks like he's going to be racing aboard a GFC kart. So we know how well that chassis performed out in Tucson for the Challenge in America's opener. So getting to see the GFC on the East Coast a little bit here with Freddie doing that. And then a driver slated to race last month but was unable to, due to illness, I think was Patrick Otto Madsen aboard the Formula K. He could be another factor as well on the weekend.
And some motorsports, focused their karting component of their company. They're a sports car racing team as well, and a sports car experience program. They do all their karting at Homestead. So Patrick Otto Madsen's got a lot of seat time there. He'll be on the Formula K. We know how good that chassis is as well. So yeah, I think you throw Madsen in there. You got Freddie Remrev. Of course, Scotty Barnes is coming back again. I think we're going to see a pretty good 3 to 4 driver battle up front. I like the way things are shaking up for this Master Shifter category.
Yeah, we might even see a split start now.
Ooh, we might. You're right. Well, Barnes definitely took full advantage of the combined start because he qualified so much better than everybody else in the Masters category. He found himself like running, third, fourth, and fifth early on in those races and was able to kind of use that to stretch away. If they go split starts, that could change things a little bit. No?
Certainly. Yeah, without a doubt. If they don't, that'll certainly, again, bottle things up because, again, you get the fast master drivers mixed in with the back markers in the pro shifter division. Could be a little interesting.
We'll see what happens. I'll tell you, Freddie Remrev was definitely the match for Scotty Barnes last year. This could be a really good battle here for the second rounds of the program. One more break. Actually, final break in the action right here. When we come back, we'll talk about the Mini Swift and Micro Swift class, and then we'll wrap things up for this edition of the OutLap. 2019 marked a new era for the KartLift brand. The company that Tim Coyne owned and operated since 2003, one with a long tradition of quality products for the karting industry, was purchased by Ted Fashing and his business, Stockholm Karting Center, in October of 2019. Stockholm Karting Center Inc. has added the KartLift brand to their very successful Triple T Race Products brand that has been fabricating parts for the drag racing industry for the past 25 years. We're small enough where the owner answers the phone and every call is important to us, but we're large enough to get the job done. We pride ourselves on the quality and personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. KartLift stands, as you know, can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button, and your cart is raised into position and you're ready to go. We have traditional cart stands, single upright storage stands, KartLift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, tire changers, and skid plate kits. KartLift stands are available at the finest kart shops around the country, or you can order online at kartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a KartLift and leave your crew at home. You can buy all the latest and greatest products on the market, but when you're karting to win, it boils down to one thing: you, the driver. Gain the knowledge and abilities by investing in yourself at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, and you'll find those extra tenths of a second you need to put yourself on the podium. The school was established by Superkarts USA Hall of Fame driver Alan Rudolph, with decades of victories and championships in multiple forms of the sport, including other disciplines of racing. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the Speed Sports Racing Park in the metropolitan Houston area, is designed to teach driving skills at all levels. The instructors of the Academy have decades of racing experience and educating drivers of all ages. Classes at the Academy will teach the concepts and skills needed both behind the wheel and off the track. From the beginning kart racing experience and intro to karting courses, to their advanced 1-day and 2-day courses and karting clinics, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can improve the skills of any driver. For more information on the specific programs that the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can provide for you, head to speedsports.com and click on the Racing Academy page. Be sure to follow the Academy on social media by searching for Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Welcome back. Final segment of our preview podcast of this coming weekend Superkarts USA Winter Series event at the AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex presented by MG Tires. You see that, David? I'm starting to get that down. That's a lot, that team, that track name. But
It's a lot of words. It's a lot of sponsorship. It's a lot of presented and naming rights. And
I'm feeling good about it though. I feel like I nailed it there.
You just got to keep working at it, kind of like you're driving.
Wow, that's solid right there. Good zing, man.
Got to get the banter in. Got to get
that
the banter.
Hurt a little bit. Mini Swift and Micro Swift to cap things off. Then there's one thing we didn't talk about that we'll hit at the very end here.
Yes.
34 entries.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, 34 entries in Mini Swift. Oliver Weldon doubled it up, back-to-back jacks for Weldon. for JC Karting at the opening rounds of the Winter Series. He has a pretty solid lead right now, 167 points, 171 points for Keelan Harvick, who made his Mini Swift debut at the SCUSA Winter Series. Carson Weinberg and Salvador Della Vecchia, that's the top 5 in points. This is interesting, David, because as I'd said, Championship Sunday is when we crown the champions. A sweep for Weldon on Saturday. Does he clinch the championship? You've got the spreadsheet.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what he nearly did the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Fast lap both days was the only points he did not gain. So, yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Again, depends on the results of Johnson and Harvick, but a victory, at least maybe even possibly a victory. 3 straight wins. I think that'll essentially lock up the championship for him. Because again, no other driver could match his win total. So even if a tie does happen, the points are probably going to be in the favor of Weldon. So yeah, I mean, Weldon's got the bullseye on his back for sure, going into round 3 and all weekend for sure.
Let me throw this out, and we'll get into it in a second. I think this category may be the deepest in terms of talent. Because when I go through the spreadsheet, I'm highlighting guys I think I want to talk about. There are a lot of drivers that can run top 10, top 5 here. You just never know who kind of dials it in, right? Who has the right package or the right feel, or when it's talking about Mini, who's in the right mindset for the young drivers as they kind of mature through the category. We throw Isaac Malkit. He's into the hunt right now. He wasn't at the opening round. I know that based on your notes that Carson Weinberg wasn't on the pre-entry list, but I think I saw a note come in on EKN's on one of our messengers that I think Weinberg will be there, but we're not on the entry list. Dude, I think I've got probably, I want to say 15 drivers highlighted who could, I think, potentially run top 10, top 5.
Well, certainly the top 12. I'm looking at the championship standings and the top 12 in the championship for sure. We've already mentioned the top 5. Luis Umana sitting 6th, Asher Osteen in 7th, Max Cristia in 8th. Gianmatteo Rousseau in 9th, Sarah Bradley in 10th, Pathan Sarapon in 11th, and Lucas Palacio in 12th. So a number of them recording top 10 finishes, if not one, at least both rounds in January. So those, that's a good top 12 right there. That could be fighting for podium positions all weekend long this weekend.
Yeah, and I'll throw in both of the Tovo brothers, Ethan Tovo and Jackson Tovo. Right, Ethan was on the pole at the Super Nationals in micro. We'll see how they step up into the mini class. Tyler Roberts, another driver for Paralyn USA, we've watched be super impressive and super quick. And did you mention Asher Oxteen? Yeah,
sitting 7th. Yep,
7th in points. So man, there's like literally, I think I've got 15 drivers lined up here. This is gonna be a ton of fun to watch. And again, it's all about how the drivers come out of the gate, getting settled in. Maybe that if the team gets it dialed in on the chassis itself. I think it's going to be a crapshoot on who's going to be top 5.
Yeah, the Roberts one is interesting because he wasn't at the event in January, so This will be his first 2022 event. See, if any rust is there, but he's certainly a top 10 contender.
Well, a lot of track time available, so if you got the rust, you can shake it off pretty quickly. Let's go to Micro Swift. As we said, Oliver Weldon with a really good shot at getting this championship locked on Saturday. He knows this racetrack. It's the home track for he and JC Karting, so he's definitely going to be in the fight. 26 entries in the Micro Swift, and just like Oliver Weldon doubled up in Mini, really, David, in January, it was all Alessandro Truchot for Paralyn USA. He was out front. I'm pretty sure he swept the entire weekend, right? Got all the max points.
Perfect points, yeah.
That's what I thought, rounds. Yeah. Now, he got chased a bit by his teammate Rocco Simoni on Sunday, but otherwise, Truchot's coming in. Same thing. Both of our cadet categories could be locked in on Saturday.
Yeah, it could be. Again, that's the the situation when you have a 2-weekend program such as this. No bonus points. For a second weekend with Superkarts USA. You see that in some other programs to kind of help entice the drivers to come back for round 2. But the numbers aren't dropping in that, so they keep it straight up, and you have the one round that you can drop. So if you do happen to have a bad round on the opening weekend, you can come back and complete that on the second weekend. And for Truchot, he's hoping that it's the same as what it was in January with him out front the entire weekend. Never relinquish that top spot all weekend long.
Yeah, Benjamin Fernandez third in points, Ashton Woon in fourth, Cameron Marsha fifth. All five drivers coming back for rounds 3 and round 4. Ashton Woon coming off a victory at the Challenge of the Americas, David, out in Tucson. And for a young driver like that, you get that momentum, that kind of confidence built in. I got to think that Woon could be another guy could potentially go for race wins this weekend.
Yeah, it was in the mix for the podium both days. Finished second on Saturday and just missed out on the podium finish on Sunday, finishing in fourth. So certainly has the opportunity or the pace to be a contender for the victory. It's just again, getting that clean air in the micro division certainly helps, and so qualifying will probably be key for Woon to be able to battle for that top spot.
Well, there you have it, folks. That is the wrap up, the preview of all the categories set to go here to cap off this year's winter series of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour. Superkarts USA program, the essentially spring training for Pro Tour. And not surprising, we see a couple of drivers come in for this February round that may have taken January off to kind of, press the reset button a little bit. As David had said earlier, the SCUSA season going all the way into the first week of December with everything that happened, the COVID change, all the issues at the Rio. So really, a lot of people, I think, press that reset button for January, coming back here for February. The Pro Tour getting started, of course, for the Winter Nationals. USPKS getting started as well in March. So let's kind of wrap things up here, David. The one thing that we didn't bring up at the very start was the return of pushback bumpers. This will obviously be something that, they tried it at the opening rounds. I got a lot of people asking me, hey, Rob, what did you think? You were there. You called the action. There were no pushbacks the opening, for the first round of the Winter Series. What were your thoughts? I myself thought that the racing was just same or as clean as it usually is. Saturday, the starts were super clean. It got a little uglier on Sunday. Like, people remembered that the fact they didn't have pushback bumpers and maybe kind of got, a little more aggressive. We saw more wrecks in turn number 1 and 2 on that opening circuit. I did hear a lot of people, though, David, complaining that, I was against pushback bumpers, but after I saw what happened this weekend, now I'm on board with it again. I think SCUSA got a lot of feedback. It seemed to me, from what I saw, the racing was pretty much the way it normally is, but it should be interesting as we come back to pushbacks for rounds 3 and 4.
Yeah, there was nothing drastically that stood out in the January weekend without the pushback bumpers. That, for me personally, I would bring them back. Again, it just could be the overall complaints or comments that Superkarts USA received regarding it. Again, we're looking at the 220 carts that are on the racetrack, not just one cart on the racetrack, or the 10 that are under your tent, or the 5 that might be under your tent. So I'm not quite sure. Again, we haven't really heard the feedback that was given. We just saw the announcement and the news published about it. So it's quite interesting because I didn't see any difference in racing in Florida that I saw in Arizona for Challenge of the Americas.
Yeah.
One didn't have pushback, and one did have pushback. And so I'm not quite sure, what triggered the move, but it's done. And I think we'll get some feedback on it Friday when we get Trackside a little bit about it, and just move forward from that.
Well, indeed, if it was customer feedback from parents and team owners saying, "Hey, we appreciate the opportunity to have the to try it, just to give it a little run, a trial, but we would rather have it back." If there was enough feedback and SCUSA goes in the other direction, I think that's a good call for them. Listening to your customers. One thing, David, I think the USPKS brought this up, and I'm assuming that it'll be put into more active use in the SCUSA program as well. We'll pin down Tom Kutcher as soon as we get Trackside on Friday. But are they making a move to have 1 or 2 people dedicated to just looking at video? Because that's, I think, one of the things people said, right? If we're going to have pushbacks and we get these activations of the pushbacks because somebody brake checked me, or I was involved in an incident where I wasn't taking somebody out, so why should I be penalized 5 seconds? Here's the video of how it happened. I want this overturned. Are they doing that? Because I think that's what USPKS is doing. If they are, right?
But USPKS doesn't have video. They're using onboard, where Superkarts USA has the video system to look at that.
Yeah.
Again, so it doesn't make sense to me. It's what they've been. Again, so we need more information from Superkarts USA on this to understand the reasoning. Really, that's what it boils down to.
The only issue is that if you're going to review a particular driver, you can't come into the area because they're trying to the video marshaling's for the race as it's happening as well. Right now, we know they go back and look at a lot of stuff that happens between races or at the end of the day. But I have to think that if you were to bring your video in that showed exactly when it happened was because a driver brake checked you or someone spun in front of you and you hit them because they spun in front of you, that's something that should be overturned if you're going to do that. It's an extra level, another layer of officiating to have somebody there to do that. It's going to put potentially more time, even a time delay or whatever it may be in setting grids. But if that's something that SCUSA decides to do, we'll have to find out whether or not they do that, and we'll maybe update on how that works. Talking to some of the drivers.
Well, it's funny because I pulled up the SCUSA rulebook and it hasn't been updated since December 21. So I'm not quite sure where all the pushback information has been published or removed. That again, I didn't see any announcement regarding welcoming videos. I believe they do look at videos when they're looking at protests, but again, I don't know the full ins and outs regarding, protests of pushback bumpers with Superkarts USA. So I can't say much more about it other than the fact that they took away pushback and they brought it back.
Well, when we get Trackside on Friday, and David, I'll do the 1 minute flat. David would fire up his Paddock Insider editorial series on the website. Your first topic is going to be what the hell's going on with the pushback bumper? How are we dealing with this? So that'll be the first thing, David. Put that on the checklist.
It's on the checklist.
It's on the checklist. And indeed, make sure to follow eKarting News for the entire 2022 SCUSA Winter Series finale. Follow us on all the social media. As you know, we use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We do our top 10 updates throughout the weekend of all the sessions on the racetrack. Easy to follow us with, of course, the hashtags, hashtag EKN at SCUSA, hashtag SCUSA Winter Series, and we'll also use hashtag AMR Motorplex as well. Again, I'll be with Kart Chaser throughout the weekend, Xander Clemens for the live video. If you can't access the live video, we'll be streaming that audio through the EKN Radio Network, either on ekartingnews.com/radio or the EKN Radio Network app that you may have on your mobile device as well. Lots of opportunity to follow along everything that's happening at this coming weekend's finale for the Superkarts USA Winter Series. Again, big thank you to the Skip Barber Racing School for presenting this edition, episode 33 of the EKN OutLap. We are done. Flights happening on Thursday. We're heading to Miami. Time to cap off this year's Winter Series. We hope you enjoyed this edition of the podcast. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.